Okay, so today I thought I would talk about something that I came across on the internet that's a pawn. Pawn's making that noise. Pawn just being weird. Anyway, I thought I would talk about something that I came across on the internet. Actually, technically my husband came across it, but he shared it with me because he thought that I could identify with it. It was basically the story of a man who kicked his sick mother-in-law out of his house. And it sounds really mean, doesn't it? Because, his wife's mother kicked out of the house. But as the story, goes, the mother had always been abusive to her child. Maybe physically, definitely emotionally abusive, very manipulative. And his wife had put up with this her entire life. She loved her mom. And when her mom got sick and her mom needed full-time care, she stepped in to give her mother full-time care. I'm going to take care of my mom. But doing so caused a lot of problems. She was the wife's mother, the mother-in-law, was still very abusive. She was very emotionally abusive. She was still very manipulative. And it started causing some bad reactions in this man's life. And the man, feeling like it wasn't his place to step in, always just let it go. He never, cursed her. He never yelled at her. He just supported his wife. He's like, my wife doesn't need me to be a dick. My wife just needs my support. So that's what he did. He sat back and he watched and he watched and he watched, and it hurt him. It hurt his heart so much to see how mean his mother-in-law was to his wife, to their children. Finally, one day, an argument occurs. And his wife, at her wit's end, says, please do something. Looks at her husband and says, please do something. And so the husband does. He had been waiting for this their whole marriage. And he looks at his mother-in-law and says, get out. I'll find you a place to go. I'll make sure that you're taken care of. But you can't live here anymore. The mother-in-law was upset. You're going to kick me out. I'm sick. And he's like, yes, I'm going to kick you out, regardless of the fact that you're sick. Because my wife and my children have to be my first priority. So I guess you're wondering, why I'm talking about somebody else's story, which anyone could probably find on the internet. It may not even be true. Who knows? It could just be, a fable of sorts, a story meant to teach a lesson. But it had kind of a profound impact on me, even though I know that I have to put my mental health first. I know that what they tell you on airplanes about, if the masks fall down, help yourself and then help your child. There's truth to that, because your child is going to freak out. If you don't take care of yourself, then you won't be around to take care of anyone else. So you have to put yourself first. So I understand that concept, and I understand the whole, your parents brought you into this world thing. But it's really hard for me, still today, over 6 months later, to not feel guilty about leaving my biological father's house when he became sick. I know that in part it's because of the way I was raised. I know that I was kind of raised in to be taught, or being told that you have to take care of your parents. It is your responsibility to take care of your parents. But reading that man's story, it kind of brought home that it's not my responsibility. I'm not obligated to take care of anyone, and that I have to take care of myself first. and that it's okay, regardless of what someone is to you, regardless of the relationship between you and another person, it's okay to set boundaries and to say, look, these are my boundaries. And you can't violate my boundaries. If you do, I will remove myself from the situation. Um, I had every right to leave. I had every right to leave because my life was being threatened. I had every right to leave because I was being emotionally manipulated. I had every right to leave because this is not, the world's greatest father. This is not even a good father. This is a father who beat me when I was a child, who looked the other way when his brother molested and raped me, who did nothing when I came home and told him of body parts hurting when I was a little girl coming back from Gloria's house. He did nothing to ensure that I had proper health care. He did nothing to ensure that I had proper dental care. This man has always had health care. This man has always had dental care. He did not take care of us. He put a roof over our head and he paid for field trips. That's about the extent of it. There were no life lessons. There were no, here, let me support you in your endeavors. I see all these parents who, when they have kids, they put aside their desires. Like, my birth father is really into horses. So if I wanted to spend quality time with him, I had to ride horses. This is not something that I was interested in. But he couldn't not involve himself for a weekend in his desires so that he could help me grow as a person in mine. Always been a big lover of music. He didn't support that. He didn't come to, the games when I was a cheerleader, which I quit pretty quickly because I thought that would be a good way to get his attention, and it didn't work. He did come to my brother's football games, however, and basketball games, because that was important. But he didn't do that stuff for me. He didn't do all of the good father stuff. He didn't even do like an adequate job of being a good father. He did a really shitty job. He doesn't get credit for doing the bare minimum of giving me food, because he didn't always do that. There were times when there wasn't food in the house because the horses needed something. So, I don't owe him anything. I don't owe him a damn thing. It's not like I'm turning my back on someone who has always helped me. I'm turning my back on someone who has done nothing for me and expects me to do everything for him. I'm turning my back on someone who physically harmed me, threatened to kill me. I'm turning my back on someone who literally is the cause, one of the causes, it's not the only cause, of my PTSD. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to say, look, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to help you. But because I'm going to help you, you have to respect the fact that I'm a full-time student and that some of my time has to be dedicated to my studies. You have to respect the fact that I'm a married woman and therefore my husband should get some amount of my time. You have to respect the fact that I have gone through a lot of therapy and I do not take kindly to violence anymore. I will not put myself in a situation where violence could occur. I'm not going to put myself into a situation where we're screaming and hollering at one another. If it comes to those things, I'm going to leave. So I removed myself from the situation, and I have every right to do so. And I think that throughout my life, I've been waiting for that person. Just like the woman in the story, after her mother leaves, tells her husband she's been waiting for someone to do that her whole life because she didn't feel like she could. I didn't feel like I could because of the things that I did, over 10 years ago that led to me going to prison. I didn't feel like I had the right to stand up for myself. And I think my whole life I've been waiting for someone to stand up for me because I didn't really know how. I didn't know you could. I never saw anyone really stand up to their parents before. But then again, all I had access to was either dysfunctional families, where you're probably going to be beaten for standing up for yourself, or functional families where there wasn't really a high need to stand up for yourself because no one's trying to take advantage of you. This is what I've been around and subject to my entire life, so I didn't really have like a frame of reference for what to do, how to, deal with the situation. And I don't know. So that article, the story, just profoundly affected me because it hits that it's okay. I don't have to do anything. The choices that I make in my life are my own. I have to obey the law, within reason, and I have to do the things to take care of myself. Pawn, hush. Sorry, Pawn. Again, having some issues today. She's making some weird vocalizations. But I'm very thankful to my husband for standing up for me, because he did. He stood on that porch and he let us scream at each other, and he didn't initially jump in. It wasn't until my biological father said that he would beat me, that my husband stepped in. And then, when my biological father said that he was going to make my husband watch as he beat me to death, my husband again stepped in. And I've never had someone really stand up for me like that before. His girlfriends, all of the girlfriends that came in and out of his life, didn't stand up for themselves, let alone me. A lot of these women still, it's kind of crazy because it makes me think of all of these serial killers that I studied in abnormal psychology classes, or classes on like truly aberrant behavior. A lot of them, the women in their lives didn't realize that they were sociopaths, that, it truly was their way or the highway. It was their needs were the only ones that mattered. They were so completely fooled by like this charisma. And it kind of reminds me of my birth father, because all of these women, like, there's one woman that he was married to who I've physically seen him beat the hell out of. I've physically seen him beat the hell out of her. And she still thinks that he's a good man. She wants him back even today. It's insane. It's insane. You're not a good man if you beat wives. Now, she cheated on him. That's true. That happened. But cheating on someone doesn't mean that they have the right to strike you. Cheating on someone does not make violence okay. So, you can't just go around hitting people. And he was physically abusive to every woman that he ever dated. I mean, I've seen him hit most of his girlfriends. Families have told me about what, he did to my birth mother. Family members, have informed me of things that he's done to other people. I know there was a knife fight once between him and one of his brothers. I mean, he hit his second wife. That happened. I saw that. I remember that. While married to his third wife, he put his hand through a glass plate window. Yeah. So, I mean, I have every right to walk away from that. I can't grow as a person if I'm surrounding myself with, such insanity. And again, and I've said this in previous videos, my husband was shocked that day because he's never seen me like that. He's never seen me yell and curse and just become so mentally unbalanced. And I'm not saying that these things were the fault of my birth father. I'm saying that I have a hard time. It's easy for me to regress when I'm around certain individuals. He would be one of those people. Probably one of the reasons is I'm still angry over my childhood. I am still quite livid at times over my childhood. Every time I go to the doctor and the doctor asks me, "You've had these problems for how long? Why didn't you see a doctor when you were a kid?" I get angry I mean, every time I go to a dentist and the dentist is like, where's your dental records? I'm like, I don't really have any. The first time I went to a dentist, I was 32 years old. What, did you not have dental insurance growing up? Apparently I did. I remember my birth father going to the dentist. Therefore, if he had dental insurance, I don't see why my brother and I wouldn't. But, again, nope. I mean, I have a vaulted palate. My teeth are so crooked, which has caused a lot of damage because they can't properly be cleaned. I mean, there's some of my teeth are so tight that it's very hard to even get floss between them, which obviously causes problems. And I don't know, that story, I just keep coming back to that story. It made me feel not alone. This has happened to other people. Other people have been through this. Other people have had to disown their parents because their parents were manipulative, abusive people. So I'm not alone. And anyone watching this who's going through a similar thing, you're not alone. Because I've been through it. I know how hard it is. I know the feelings of guilt and inadequacy that come from it. I know, the paranoia and the anxiety, the wondering whether or not everyone's going to see you as a horrible person from now on. I know, I understand. Because I think that sometimes, like, do people think that I'm a horrible person because I've disowned my family? And I shouldn't worry about what other people think of me. What other people think of me is none of my business. That's easier said than done. So, that's going to be it for right now. I will be back next week with a new topic. So, yeah, sayonara.